In the vast, sprawling floodplains of northern Botswana, the golden light of dusk stretches across a landscape shaped by millennia of natural rhythms. Here, the Selinda spillway once pulsed with life, its waters nourishing a mosaic of grasslands, woodlands, and winding channels. Yet a profound silence now lingers, settling over the land like a heavy shroud. The absence is not merely a void, but a palpable ache woven into the very fabric of the ecosystem. The waterways, once alive with the distant calls of lions echoing across the plains, are now eerily quiet. The intricate tapestry of life that depended on the presence of these apex predators has unraveled, leaving behind a landscape haunted by absence. The air, once charged with the tension of predator and prey, now feels stagnant, as if the land itself is holding its breath. Without the regulating force of lions, herds of impala and zebra graze with less vigilance, their movements less coordinated, their senses dulled by the lack of imminent threat. The balance between predator and prey, once maintained by the subtle cues and responses of both, has been disrupted. The grasslands, unchecked by the pressure of predation, begin to swell with ungulate numbers, their hooves carving new paths through the overgrown terrain. The land bears silent witness to what has been lost. Faint paw prints in the sand, abandoned dens, and overgrown trails are all that remain of the prides that once ruled these territories. The knowledge passed from mother to cub, how to hunt, how to defend, how to survive, has faded with each lost generation. The echoes of ancient roars, once a nightly chorus, have been replaced by the whisper of wind through tall grass. The environment itself seems altered. Grasses grow taller and denser in the absence of regular predation, subtly shifting the composition of the ecosystem. The once vibrant chorus of the wild is muted, replaced by an unnatural quiet that settles over the plains at dusk. The intricate web of life, once held in delicate balance by the presence of lions, now sags under the weight of unchecked herbivore populations. By the mid-2000s, the floodplains had reached a critical threshold. The absence of lions was not merely a loss of a species, but a collapse of an entire ecological structure. Territories once fiercely defended now lie vacant, their boundaries blurred and unchallenged. The social bonds that once knit prides together have unraveled, leaving only the faintest traces of their existence. Buffalo and antelope gather in larger numbers, their populations swelling in the absence of natural checks. Yet the landscape feels incomplete, as if the very spirit of the wild has been diminished. The subtle interplay of fear and survival, once orchestrated by the presence of lions, has faded, leaving the ecosystem adrift. The silence that falls over the Selinda at twilight is not the gentle hush of peace, but the echo of loss. It is a silence that speaks of broken cycles, of stories left unfinished, of a kingdom without its rulers. The absence of the pride is felt in every shadow, every rustle of grass, every empty den that once sheltered generations. The floodplains, stripped of their apex predators, begin to transform in subtle but profound ways. The unchecked growth of certain plant species alters the availability of food for smaller herbivores, while the absence of lion kills deprives scavengers of a vital food source. The entire food web trembles, its threads fraying at the edges. The memory of the pride lingers in the landscape itself. Each paw print, each faded trail, is a testament to the generations that once thrived here. The loss is not only biological, but cultural, a severing of the ancient lineage that shaped the very identity of the floodplains. The absence of lions reverberates through every level of the ecosystem. Prey species, once finely attuned to the presence of danger, now move with a complacency that belies the wild's true nature. The grasses, no longer trampled by hunting prides, grow unchecked, altering the microhabitats for insects and birds. Even the climate seems to respond to the absence. Without lions to regulate herbivore numbers, overgrazing in some areas and undergrazing in others create patchworks of altered vegetation, subtly shifting the patterns of erosion and water flow across the floodplains. As dawn breaks over the empty plains, a fragile sense of possibility lingers in the air. The land, though scarred, retains the potential for renewal. The ecosystem waits, poised between memory and hope, for the return of its lost guardians. The silence is heavy, but within it lies the promise of resurgence. In the midst of this silence, two lions emerge. Solitary figures moving through the grass, their presence a faint heartbeat in the quiet. They carry with them the last threads of a legacy, the fragile beginnings of a new chapter for the Selinda. Their journey will test the resilience of nature and the enduring power of life to reclaim what was lost. Each step they take is a defiant act against oblivion, a reminder that even in the deepest silence, hope endures. Out of the profound silence, a flicker of life remained. In the vast emptiness of Selinda, where the grass whispered with the memory of vanished prides, two lionesses emerged as the last sentinels of a fading legacy. The entire hope for Selinda's future rested on the shoulders of just two lionesses, whose every step carried the weight of generations lost to time and adversity. There was the matriarch, a battle-scarred female named Labone, her face etched with the stories of countless battles and narrow escapes, each scar a testament to her resilience and wisdom, and her adult daughter, Bolelo, whose youthful vigor was tempered by the harsh lessons of survival, her gaze always alert for opportunity or threat. They were the last remnants of a forgotten dynasty, a fragile link to a time when prides ruled these lands, their presence a living bridge between past abundance and present struggle. Alone, they were vulnerable, a shadow of the formidable hunting force a full pride represents, forced to adapt their strategies to compensate for their diminished numbers. They survived on the margins, their existence a quiet act of defiance against the odds that were so heavily stacked against them, navigating the shifting boundaries of their territory with caution and resolve. These two lionesses were not just survivors, they were the living embodiment of Selinda's last chance, the seed from which a new future might grow, their every action shaping the destiny of the landscape itself. Their life was one of constant struggle, each day a test of endurance and ingenuity as they faced hunger, thirst, and the relentless pressure of isolation. A pair of lionesses, no matter how skilled, finds it incredibly difficult to take down the large, powerful prey necessary to sustain them, forcing them to refine their hunting tactics to the utmost precision. Buffalo, which were beginning to return to the area in greater numbers, were far too dangerous for just two hunters, their massive horns and tight formations presenting a deadly challenge. They were forced to scavenge or hunt smaller, less rewarding game, living a precarious existence from one meal to the next, their bodies lean and their movements calculated to conserve every ounce of energy. Every hunt demanded patience and precision. The matriarchs would spend hours observing the movements of antelope, warthog, and even birds, learning the subtle rhythms of the savanna attuned to the faintest rustle or shift in the wind. They used the landscape to their advantage, crouching low in the grass, using termite mounds as vantage points, and moving silently with the wind to mask their scent, their senses finely tuned to the nuances of their environment. They were isolated in a vast and empty territory that should have been bustling with their own kind, their solitary figures dwarfed by the endless horizon. Interactions with other predators were inevitable. Jackals and hyenas trailed their movements, hoping to steal scraps, while vultures circled above, ever watchful for signs of a kill, each encounter a reminder of the constant competition for survival. The matriarchs learned to defend their meager meals fiercely, using coordinated displays of aggression to deter opportunistic rivals, their unity and timing often making the difference between keeping a hard-won meal or losing it. Every sunrise brought the same challenge: to survive another day in a world that was no longer built for them, a world where the odds of re-establishing a pride seemed impossibly slim, yet hope persisted with each new dawn. Water was a precious resource. The matriarchs navigated the shifting patterns of the floodplain, timing their movements to reach waterholes before the heat of the day, always alert for crocodiles and lurking dangers, their survival dependent on reading the subtle cues of the land. Labone, the elder of the two, carried the wisdom of a bygone era, her instincts sharpened by years of hardship, her decisions guided by a deep understanding of the cycles of feast and famine. Her instincts were sharp, honed by years of hardship and loss, allowing her to anticipate danger and opportunity with uncanny accuracy, a living archive of the pride's ancestral knowledge. She marked the boundaries of their territory with scent, a silent warning to any intruders, and read the messages left by other animals, deciphering the invisible language of the wild, her vigilance maintaining the integrity of their domain. Bolelo, her daughter, possessed the strength and energy of youth, but lacked the experience of leading a pride or raising cubs of her own. Her journey one of learning and adaptation under her mother's watchful eye. She practiced her skills relentlessly, stalking birds and small mammals, learning through trial and error the art of the hunt, her movements growing more confident with each passing day. Together, they formed a resilient, if incomplete, unit. Their partnership a delicate balance of experience and youthful determination, each relying on the other for survival. They were a family of two against the world, their bond forged in the crucible of adversity, their mutual trust the foundation of every decision and every risk taken. Cooperation was their greatest asset. Every successful hunt, every shared meal, reinforced the trust and communication essential for survival, their teamwork a silent language of glances and subtle cues. They would patrol the edges of their ancestral lands, their faint roars a lonely call into the void, a question asked to an empty landscape. Was anyone else out there? Their vocalizations served not only as a beacon for potential allies, but as a warning to rivals. For a long time the only answer was the echo of their own voices, yet they persisted, their determination unwavering, even as the silence pressed in from all sides. The environment itself shaped their strategies. During the dry season they sought shade beneath acacias, conserving energy and waiting for the cover of darkness to hunt, their routines dictated by the rhythms of heat and rainfall. Day after day they held their ground, two solitary figures moving through the tall grasses of the spillway, their persistence a quiet assertion of their right to exist. Their tawny coats blended seamlessly with the landscape, allowing them to approach prey undetected, a vital adaptation in a world where every advantage mattered, their camouflage a product of countless generations of evolution. Their very presence was a testament to the indomitable spirit of their species, their survival a living challenge to the forces that had driven so many others to extinction. They were the keepers of a legacy, the last guardians of a territory that had been in their family for generations, their vigilance maintaining the delicate balance between predator and prey. By maintaining their territory, the matriarchs preserved the ecological balance, keeping the intricate web of predator and prey intact, their presence shaping the behavior of countless other species. The future of the lion in this part of Africa was entirely dependent on them. Their choices, their resilience, and their ability to adapt would determine whether the story of the Selinda pride would end or begin anew. If they were to fall, the silence would return, likely forever, the grasslands losing not just their apex predators, but the heartbeat of their wildness. Yet, the matriarch's vigilance offered hope. Their presence signaled to other animals that the balance of the wild could be restored, that the ancient rhythms of migration and predation might one day return, their survival a beacon for the ecosystem as a whole. If they could somehow find a way to rebuild, to nurture new life and attract wandering males, they could become the founding mothers of a new and powerful pride, rewriting the tragic history of their homeland and restoring the roar of lions to Selinda's wild heart. In the vast, golden silence of the Selinda wilderness, The fate of the lions hung in delicate balance. Labone and Bolelo, the last lionesses of their lineage, patrolled their empty territory, each paw print a testament to survival against the odds. The land itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for a sign that the story was not yet over. Then, as if summoned by the silent yearning of the plains, two powerful male lions emerged from the horizon. Their arrival was not merely chance. It was the answer to a silent call echoing across the savannah, a call for renewal and strength. These males were nomads, shaped by the unforgiving wilds beyond Selinda. Their dark manes rippled in the wind, a mark of maturity and dominance. Every muscle in their bodies spoke of battles fought and territories crossed, of a relentless search for a place to claim as their own. The lionesses watched with a mixture of caution and hope. The meeting was tense, a delicate negotiation of power and intent. In the open savannah, every glance, every posture was a language, one that determined whether the future would be written in blood or in alliance. For Labone and Bolelo, these males were not invaders but potential partners. The air was thick with anticipation as the four lions circled, sniffed and sized each other up, the ancient ritual of pride formation unfolding beneath the rising sun. Gradually, the tension eased. The males, sensing acceptance, joined the lionesses. This union was more than a gathering. It was the birth of a coalition, a merging of destinies that would shape the future of Selinda. With the males' arrival, the territory's dynamic shifted overnight. The once quiet grasslands now echoed with the confident strides of new rulers. The males explored every corner, their presence a bold proclamation that the land was no longer unclaimed. Their roars shattered the dawn, rolling across the plains like thunder. These deep, resonant calls were more than sound. They were a warning to rivals, a reassurance to the pride, and a declaration that the silence of loss had been replaced by the promise of resurgence. The savannah, once subdued, now vibrated with the energy of renewal. The roars became a daily ritual, a chorus that marked the territory as fiercely defended and newly alive. The males patrolled the boundaries with relentless determination, scent-marking bushes and trees. Each mark was a silent message to any would-be challengers. This land was claimed, its borders guarded by strength and unity. For the first time in years, the structure of a true pride began to emerge. The lions rested together, sharing warmth and security, their bodies pressed close in the tall grass, a living tapestry of kinship and cooperation. The coalition of two males and two lionesses moved as a single, formidable unit. Their bond was forged in necessity, but strengthened by shared purpose, to defend, to hunt, and to nurture the next generation. Together they stood atop termite mounds, surveying their reclaimed kingdom. The pride's silhouette against the sunrise was a symbol of resilience, a dynasty rising from the ashes of near extinction. Soon, the ultimate sign of hope appeared. From the safety of hidden dens, tiny cubs emerged, their eyes wide with wonder at the world they had inherited. Labone and Bolelo, now mothers, lavished care on their newborns. The cubs, fragile and dependent, nestled close to their mothers, learning the scents and sounds of their new family. Each lioness bore a litter of 3, 6 cubs in total, 6 new lives, each one a spark of hope in a landscape once haunted by silence. The cubs tumbled and played, their innocence a stark contrast to the harshness of the world outside their pride. The pride basked in the morning light, the cubs nestled between their mother's paws. This was a moment of triumph, a fragile victory in the ongoing struggle for survival. The pride's numbers grew, and with them its strength. The cubs learned to stalk and pounce, their play a rehearsal for the challenges that awaited them as future hunters and defenders of the territory. These cubs were the first generation born into a land where the threat of predation came only from nature, not from the shadow of extinction. Their world was one of opportunity, but also of constant tests, each day a lesson in survival. The cubs carried the legacy of their ancestors, their bloodlines stretching back through generations of lions who had ruled, lost, and reclaimed this land. Their mothers watched over them with fierce devotion, teaching them the ways of the pride. Nursing beneath the watchful eyes of their mothers, the cubs grew stronger each day. Their playful battles and mock hunts were the first steps toward adulthood, each interaction shaping the pride's future hierarchy. The pride now numbered 10, a tapestry of relationships, alliances, and rivalries. The dominant males watched over the group, their authority unchallenged, while the lionesses coordinated hunts and cared for the young. The plains, once silent, now rang with the sounds of cubs at play. Their squeaks and growls, their tumbling bodies, were the music of a land reborn. Lebone and Bolelo, once the last hope of a fading legacy, had become matriarchs, guardians of a new generation, teachers of the skills and secrets that would ensure the pride's survival. The males, once wanderers without a home, now played their part as fathers and protectors. They watched over the cubs, defended the pride from threats, and ensured that the dynasty would endure. In the heart of Selinda, a new dynasty had taken root. Forged through adversity, shaped by the wild, and united by the bonds of kinship, this pride stood as a living testament to the resilience and complexity of lion society, a beacon of hope for the future of the savannah. Social grooming became a daily ritual, reinforcing the intricate bonds that held the pride together. Each gentle lick and nuzzle was a silent affirmation of trust, hierarchy, and unity, essential for the pride's cohesion. The lionesses led their cubs through the tall grass, teaching them to navigate the labyrinth of the savannah. Every step was a lesson in stealth, patience, and the subtle art of moving unseen in a world of predators and prey. The males remained ever vigilant, scanning the horizon for signs of rival coalitions or opportunistic hyenas. Their presence deterred intruders, ensuring the pride's territory remained secure and undisturbed. As dusk fell, the lionesses coordinated silent hunts, their movements synchronized by instinct and experience. Each hunt was a display of teamwork, strategy, and the unspoken communication that defined their success as a pride. The cubs watched intently from a safe distance, absorbing every nuance of the hunt. Observation was their first classroom, and the lionesses their patient instructors, passing down the skills that would one day sustain the dynasty. When a hunt was successful, the pride gathered at the carcass, the hierarchy evident in the order of feeding. Dominant males ate first, followed by lionesses, and then the cubs, each respecting the unwritten rules that governed their society. Playful wrestling near the waterhole helped the cubs develop strength, coordination, and social skills. These mock battles were vital rehearsals for the challenges of adulthood, shaping future leaders and defenders of the pride. During the heat of midday, the pride sought refuge in the shade, conserving energy for the night ahead. Rest was as crucial as action, allowing bodies to heal and bonds to deepen in the quiet intimacy of the pride. As twilight returned, the males resumed their patrols, scent marking and roaring to reinforce their claim. These rituals were not only displays of power, but also vital signals to neighboring prides, maintaining the delicate balance of the ecosystem. The cubs' curiosity led them to explore termite mounds and thickets, investigating new scents and sights. Each discovery expanded their understanding of the territory, preparing them for the independence that would one day be required. Shared meals among the lionesses reinforced alliances and minimized conflict. Cooperation at the carcass was a reflection of the pride's social structure, where unity was the foundation of survival. The coalition of males rested side by side, their bond forged through shared trials and mutual reliance. This partnership was the backbone of the pride's defense, ensuring stability and continuity for the dynasty. Under the watchful gaze of their mothers, the cubs practiced stalking in the tall grass, honing the predatory instincts that would one day make them formidable hunters. Each lesson was a step towards self-sufficiency and pride leadership. As night descended, the pride gathered close, their silhouettes framed by the starry African sky. In these quiet hours, the bonds of kinship were reaffirmed, and the legacy of the new dynasty was written in the language of survival, unity, and hope. The birth of lion cubs in the African wilderness is a moment of fragile hope, a spark of life ignited in a landscape where survival is never guaranteed. Their first breaths are drawn in the cool shade of a hidden den, where the air is thick with the scent of earth and the distant calls of other predators echo faintly through the grass. Each cub, eyes still clouded with the haze of infancy, instinctively presses close to its mother's warmth, their tiny bodies trembling with the effort of existence. Labone and Bolelo, now mothers for the first time, faced the daunting reality of nurturing life. In a world where every day brings new hazards, their maternal instincts, powerful yet untested, guided them as they shielded their cubs from the relentless sun and the ever-present threat of lurking predators. The lioness's vigilance was constant, their senses sharpened by the weight of responsibility. The cubs, driven by an irrepressible curiosity, began to explore their immediate surroundings. Their first steps were tentative, paws sinking into the dew-soaked grass as they navigated a world brimming with unfamiliar sights and sounds. Playful tumbles and mock battles with siblings were more than mere games. They were vital rehearsals for the skills they would need to survive. Feeding time was a lesson in patience and discipline. The lionesses balanced the demands of hungry cubs, their tiny jaws kneading for milk with the need to maintain order. Gentle nips and stern glances established boundaries, teaching the cubs respect for their mothers and for each other. Each dawn brought a new set of challenges. The mothers led their young through shifting landscapes, their movements cautious and deliberate. Every rustle in the grass, every distant call was assessed for danger. The cubs, still learning the language of the wild, relied on their mothers' subtle cues to know when to freeze, when to hide, and when to follow. Even the simple act of relocating the den was fraught with risk. The cubs, easily distracted by fluttering insects or the scent of unfamiliar animals, often strayed from the safety of their mother's side. Each journey required the lionesses to corral their young, herding them away from hidden dangers and back towards the protective cover of the den. The Selinda spillway, a shimmering artery winding through the savannah, was both a lifeline and a looming threat. Its waters, essential for the pride's survival, concealed silent predators beneath their surface. The cubs, drawn by the glint of sunlight on water, approached with innocent fascination, unaware of the dangers that lurked below. Crocodiles, masters of patience and ambush, lay motionless in the shallows, their eyes barely breaking the surface. Territorial hippos, massive and unpredictable, patrolled the waterways, ready to defend their domain with explosive force. For the cubs, these hidden dangers were lessons in caution, their mother's wariness their only shield. Crossing the waterway was a test of courage and coordination. The lionesses scanned the banks, ears pricked and muscles tense, as the cubs hesitated at the edge, their instincts warring with their fear. Each crossing demanded absolute focus, the pride moving as one, every sense alert to the slightest ripple or shadow. In one tense moment, the pride faced a dilemma that would shape their future. The lure of a wounded buffalo, a rare opportunity, lay on the far side of the river, but not all the cubs were willing to brave the crossing. The air was thick with uncertainty, the mothers torn between the promise of a meal and the safety of their young. The buffalo, weakened yet still formidable, represented both risk and reward. The lionesses weighed the needs of their hungry family against the vulnerability of their youngest members, their decision-making shaped by the harsh calculus of survival. Two cubs, paralyzed by fear, remained behind, their small bodies pressed low to the ground, eyes wide with uncertainty as the rest of the pride moved forward. The separation was a stark reminder of the dangers that stalk the vulnerable in the wild. The mother's distress was evident as they paced the riverbank, torn between the imperative to feed and the instinct to protect. The separation underscored the delicate balance between opportunity and safety, a balance that could shift in an instant. Such moments revealed the steep learning curve of motherhood in the wild. Instinct alone was not enough. Experience would be their greatest teacher. Every decision carried consequences, shaping the future of the pride. The stranded cubs endured a night fraught with danger. Alone they faced the chilling calls of hyenas and the ever-present threat of leopards, their vulnerability a stark reminder of the savannah's unforgiving nature. Each sound in the darkness was a potential threat, every shadow a possible predator. Each ordeal became a lesson, not just for the cubs, but for their mothers as well. The lionesses learned to anticipate the unpredictable, adapting their strategies with every challenge. Their growing experience was etched into every cautious step, every protective gesture. Managing a large family in such a perilous environment demanded constant vigilance and adaptability. The pride's survival depended on the mother's ability to read the landscape, to sense danger before it struck, and to respond with swift, decisive action. Early hunting attempts were marked by confusion and missteps. The cubs watched intently, absorbing the nuances of the stalk and the chase, while the adults struggled to coordinate their efforts. Each failed attempt was a lesson in patience, timing, and teamwork. The males, powerful yet inexperienced in teamwork, added muscle but not always cohesion. Hunting formidable prey like buffalo required silent communication and flawless timing, skills the pride was only beginning to develop. Each attempt brought new insights, slowly forging the group into a more effective unit. Failed hunts were frequent, each one a costly lesson. Hunger sharpened their resolve, and every setback forged stronger bonds within the group. The cubs learned resilience, watching as their elders regrouped and tried again. Through adversity, the pride's unity deepened. Social grooming, playful tussles, and shared vigilance reinforced the ties that would be their greatest asset. The cubs, comforted by the presence of their family, found security in the collective strength of the pride. The cubs, ever playful, remained at the heart of the pride's purpose. Their survival was the measure of every decision, every risk taken. Each day brought new opportunities for learning, their world expanding with every cautious step. Gradually, Laboni and Bolelo's instincts sharpened. Each successful hunt, each safe crossing, marked a step forward in their evolution as matriarchs. Their confidence grew with every challenge overcome, their leadership shaping the pride's destiny. Communication within the pride grew more sophisticated. Subtle cues, a flick of the tail, a low rumble, guided the cubs and coordinated the adults, transforming chaos into cooperation. The pride moved as a single organism, each member attuned to the needs of the others. The early days were a crucible, forging resilience and adaptability. Every hardship endured was a lesson written into the fabric of the pride, each scar a testament to their determination to survive. With each passing day, the pride grew not just in number, but in wisdom and strength. Their journey through a world of danger was shaping them into a formidable force, ready to face whatever the wild would bring. The cubs' first steps, uncertain and perilous, marked the beginning of a lifelong dance with survival, one that would define the future of the Selinda pride. The fragile equilibrium of the Selinda pride's daily life was shattered by the sudden intrusion of nomadic lions, outsiders whose mere presence sent a wave of unease rippling through the grasslands. These nomads, shaped by years of wandering and survival on the fringes, brought with them a threat that was both immediate and existential. 4 robust nomadic males, their bodies marked by old scars and lean muscle, strode purposefully into the pride's territory. Unlike resident males, these lions had no allegiance to any pride, their lives defined by relentless movement and the constant search for opportunity. The Selinda pride's response was instantaneous. Eyes widened, nostrils flared, and tails flicked in agitation as the scent and sound of the intruders reached them. Every member of the pride became hyper-aware, their senses attuned to the subtlest changes in the environment. For nomadic males, the conquest of a new territory is a matter of survival and legacy. Their arrival signals a calculated campaign to overthrow resident males, often beginning with the elimination of cubs sired by rivals, a brutal but effective strategy to ensure their own genes dominate the next generation. For the pride's lionesses Labone and Bolello, the threat was deeply personal. Their 6 cubs, still vulnerable and dependent, represented the pride's future. The lionesses' instincts sharpened. Every fiber of their being focused on shielding their young from the looming danger. The two factions met in a tense tableau, each lion reading the body language and subtle cues of the other. The air vibrated with the low rumble of warning growls as both sides weighed the risks of escalation against the potential rewards. The resident males, though seasoned and powerful, found themselves at a numerical disadvantage. Their stance was defiant, muscles taut and eyes locked on the intruders, but the odds were daunting, 2 defenders against 4 determined challengers. Instead of immediate violence, both groups engaged in ritualized displays, powerful roars, arched backs, and mock charges. These behaviors serve as both a deterrent and a test, allowing each side to gauge the resolve and strength of their adversaries without risking injury in a full-scale clash. In a display of remarkable composure, the matriarch Labone stepped forward. Her movements were deliberate, exuding a calm authority that belied the tension of the moment. She positioned herself as both a shield and a negotiator, her presence a statement of the pride's unity. Labone's posture was unmistakable, tail held high, shoulders squared, and gaze unwavering. Her assertiveness communicated a clear message: the pride would not yield its ground or its young without a fight. By scent marking and physically placing herself between the nomads and her cubs, Labone demonstrated both tactical intelligence and maternal courage. Her actions reinforced the pride's boundaries and signaled a readiness to defend them at any cost. The confrontation reached a precarious stalemate. Neither side was willing to risk the high cost of open conflict, resulting in a tense, uneasy truce. Each lion maintained a careful distance, their vigilance unbroken. Every movement was scrutinized, every subtle shift in posture analyzed for intent. The atmosphere was charged with silent communication, as the fate of the pride hung in the balance with each passing moment. In a rare and extraordinary turn, the 2 rival groups found themselves momentarily aligned by circumstance. The pressing need for food eclipsed their territorial rivalry, creating a fleeting alliance born of necessity. Hunger, a force more powerful than pride or rivalry, compelled both groups to cooperate. The drive to secure a meal overrode their instinctual distrust, forging a temporary coalition with a singular purpose. In a remarkable display of coordination, all 10 adult lions, resident males, lionesses and nomads, moved as a synchronized unit. Their collective focus was absolute, each lion contributing to the complex choreography of the hunt. The combined might and tactical prowess of this temporary supergroup enabled them to bring down a formidable buffalo. Each lion played a distinct role, some driving the prey, others ambushing from the flanks, demonstrating the effectiveness of collective action in the wild. As dusk enveloped the savannah, the lions gathered around their hard-won prize. The shared meal was marked by a tense peace, each lion acutely aware of the fragile nature of their alliance and the ever-present undercurrent of competition. Every mouthful was taken with caution, glances exchanged over the carcass betraying the simmering rivalry beneath the surface. Dominance was asserted subtly, through posture, proximity, and the order in which each lion fed. As the last scraps were consumed, the alliance began to unravel. The lion's wariness returned, and the two groups gradually separated, the temporary truce dissolving with the encroaching darkness. The aftermath was thick with renewed suspicion. Each lion watched the others intently, ready to defend their position or retreat if the situation demanded. The social order, always in flux, was renegotiated with every interaction. As dawn approached, the nomadic males withdrew, their quest for a permanent territory far from over. The pride's steadfast defense and strategic restraint had secured their survival, at least for now. The encounter left subtle traces across the landscape, tracks in the dust, the scent of lions lingering in the air, a testament to the ongoing struggle for dominance and survival that defines life on the savanna. Through unity, adaptability, and strategic brilliance, the Selinda pride emerged from the ordeal not only intact but strengthened. Their ability to navigate the complexities of lion society had ensured their continued existence. The pride's resilience in the face of overwhelming odds stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of these magnificent animals. Their story is one of survival, adaptation, and the unbreakable bonds that define the heart of the African wilderness. As the golden light of dawn spilled across the savanna, the 6 cubs emerged from the shelter of their elders, their coats still dappled with the faintest traces of youth. Under the watchful eyes of the pride, each cub began to carve out its own identity, shaped by the subtle interplay of instinct and instruction. The elders, seasoned by years of survival, imparted wisdom not through words but through demonstration. Each movement, each pause, a silent lesson in the art of living wild. The cubs absorbed these teachings, their senses sharpening with every passing day. In the early mornings, the cubs would gather in the tall grass, their bodies low and eyes wide, mimicking the stalking posture of their mothers. The air was thick with anticipation, every rustle a potential lesson, every shadow a possible threat or opportunity. Playfighting became a daily ritual, a vital rehearsal for the realities of the hunt. Each leap and tumble was more than play. It was a test of agility, a measure of strength, and a chance to refine the split-second timing that would one day mean the difference between feast and famine. As the cubs grew, their games took on new complexity. They began to practice ambushes, using the uneven terrain and tufts of grass as cover, learning to move with a silence that belied their youthful exuberance. The pride's territory, a mosaic of open plains and dense thickets, became a living classroom. Here, the cubs encountered the full spectrum of savanna life, herds of antelope, wary warthogs, and the ever-present threat of hyenas and leopards. Each encounter was a lesson in risk and reward. The cubs learned to gauge the distance to their quarry, to sense the wind's direction, and to recognize the subtle cues that signaled danger or opportunity. Their first hunting attempts were clumsy, marked by overzealous charges and premature pounces. Prey would scatter, and the cubs would be left panting in the dust, their inexperience laid bare by the unforgiving landscape. Yet failure was a patient teacher. The cubs learned to temper their excitement, to wait for the perfect moment, and to move as one. Each member of the group attuned to the rhythm of the hunt. The pride's matriarchs played a crucial role, orchestrating practice hunts and guiding the cubs through the intricate choreography of a coordinated attack. With each attempt, the young lions grew more adept, their movements more synchronized, their strategies more refined. The changing seasons brought new challenges. As the rains receded, the landscape transformed, revealing isolated pockets of prey and new obstacles to overcome. The cubs adapted quickly, using the shifting terrain to their advantage. On the exposed islands left by retreating waters, the young lions encountered prey in unfamiliar situations. Here, they learned to exploit vulnerability, to approach with patience, and to strike with precision. The cubs' senses became finely tuned to the nuances of their environment. They learned to distinguish the alarm calls of birds from the rustle of a fleeing antelope, to read the tension in a herd's posture, and to anticipate the unpredictable movements of their quarry. Nightfall brought a new dimension to their education. Under the cover of darkness, the cubs relied on their acute hearing and night vision, stalking silently through the cool grass, their bodies nearly invisible to all but the most vigilant prey. The pride's nocturnal hunts demanded a different set of skills. The cubs learned to communicate through subtle gestures, a flick of the tail, a shift in weight, coordinating their movements without a sound. In the darkness, the young lions discovered the power of patience. They would wait for hours, motionless and alert, until the perfect opportunity presented itself. When the moment came, they moved as one, a silent wave of muscle and intent. Each successful hunt was a triumph of learning and adaptation. The cubs celebrated their victories with exuberant displays, but beneath the surface, a deeper transformation was taking place. They were becoming hunters in their own right, their confidence growing with every challenge overcome. The bonds forged in these formative months would shape the pride's future. Through shared hardship and collective triumph, the young lions learned the value of cooperation, the necessity of trust, and the unspoken rules that governed their world. As the cubs matured, their roles within the pride began to crystallize. Some emerged as natural leaders, guiding their siblings with quiet authority. Others excelled as scouts, their keen senses alert to the slightest disturbance. The pride's unity was its greatest strength. Together, the young lions faced down threats, defended their territory, and secured their place in the intricate web of savanna life. With each passing day, the cubs grew more adept at navigating the complexities of their environment. They learned to exploit the cover of darkness, to anticipate the movements of their prey, and to adapt their tactics to the ever-changing landscape. The rise of the young hunters was not a sudden transformation, but a gradual evolution, a testament to the resilience, intelligence, and adaptability that define the lion's place at the apex of the food chain. As the first rays of sunlight crested the horizon, the pride moved forward, stronger, wiser, and united by the shared experience of survival. The legacy of the elders lived on in the next generation, their knowledge and skills woven into the fabric of the pride's future. In the heart of the savannah, the young hunters stood poised on the threshold of adulthood, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead and to shape the destiny of their lineage for generations to come. Among the 6 growing cubs, one young male distinguished himself from the outset. Even in the earliest days of playful wrestling and cautious exploration, his presence was unmistakable, marked by a confidence that radiated through every movement. His spirit was defined by an exceptional boldness and a fearless temperament, traits that set him apart from his siblings and hinted at a future role as a leader within the pride. While his brothers and sisters often hesitated at the edge of the unknown, this young male was always the first to step forward. His curiosity was insatiable, driving him to investigate every rustle in the grass and every unfamiliar scent carried by the wind. He approached the 2 dominant pride males, his fathers with a remarkable lack of trepidation. In lion society, such audacity is rare, as adult males are both powerful and unpredictable, often enforcing strict boundaries with the cubs. Most cubs instinctively keep their distance from the formidable adult males, but this cub persistently sought their attention. He would nuzzle, paw, and even playfully swat at their manes, testing boundaries and learning the subtle cues of dominance and tolerance. His courage was not mere bravado, it was a vital quality in the wild, where leadership is earned through resilience and the ability to command respect. Each bold act was a step in forging his identity as a future king. His relentless persistence gradually softened the reserve of one of the pride's dominant males. The older lion, recognizing the cub's determination, began to tolerate his presence, allowing a unique relationship to develop. This unlikely bond became a cornerstone of the young lion's development. Through close interaction, the cub gained access to lessons in social hierarchy, power dynamics, and the responsibilities of leadership. The adult male, who would have rebuffed any other cub for such impertinence, seemed to recognize a spark of kinship in the young lion. This silent approval was a powerful signal within the pride's complex social structure. The older lion's tolerance extended to sharing meals and resting spaces, rare privileges for a cub. These moments of mentorship allowed the young male to observe the nuances of authority, from the distribution of food to the subtle enforcement of order. Accompanying the pride leader on territorial patrols, the cub learned the importance of vigilance and strategic movement. He observed how scent markings, vocalizations, and physical displays maintained the pride's boundaries and deterred rivals. This close mentorship shaped the cub's understanding of leadership. He absorbed lessons not through force but by keen observation and imitation, internalizing the behaviors that would one day define his own rule. As he matured, he grew noticeably larger and more self-assured than his siblings. His boldness was nurtured by the pride's acceptance, allowing him to develop the confidence necessary to navigate the intricate hierarchy of lion society. He was invariably the first to respond to unfamiliar sounds or scents, leading his siblings in cautious investigations. During early hunting lessons, he demonstrated initiative and composure, standing his ground even when faced with unexpected threats. His character reflected a harmonious blend of his mother's resilience and his father's commanding presence. This unique combination of traits was essential for the pride's continued survival and cohesion. As he grew, his robust health and striking appearance became a living testament to the pride's successful recovery. His vitality was a direct result of the pride's restored stability and the careful nurturing of its members. His boldness was tempered by discernment, distinguishing him from reckless individuals. He demonstrated an innate ability to inspire trust and unity among his peers, qualities essential for effective leadership in the wild. As the cubs transitioned into sub-adulthood, his leadership became increasingly evident. He asserted himself through decisive actions, guiding his siblings with a calm authority rather than through displays of aggression. During group hunting exercises on the river islands, his initiative often set the pace for the entire pride. He coordinated movements, signaling when to advance and when to hold back, demonstrating a natural aptitude for strategy. His siblings instinctively followed his lead, trusting his judgment in moments of uncertainty. These formative experiences solidified his role as the pride's emerging leader, shaping the group's collective behavior. The transformation from a spirited cub to a formidable young male was marked by continuous learning and adaptation. Each stage of growth brought new challenges: territorial disputes, shifting alliances, and the ever-present threat of rival predators. Today he stands as a symbol of Selinda's revitalization, a majestic young lion whose journey embodies the resilience of nature and the intricate social bonds that define lion society. In the making of a king, it is not only strength and courage that matter, but also wisdom, adaptability, and the ability to unite a pride in the face of adversity. As dawn breaks over the Selinda Reserve, the young lions, now approaching 3 years of age, move with a newfound purpose, their bodies lean and powerful, muscles rippling beneath tawny coats honed by months of relentless training. Each step through the dew-laden grass is measured, their senses attuned to the faintest rustle or shifting wind, every movement a silent conversation with the land that raised them. Their journey as hunters has reached a pivotal moment. In a display of remarkable coordination, they execute a complex ambush, circling a massive buffalo with calculated precision. The air is thick with tension as they communicate through subtle glances and low growls, each lion understanding its role in the unfolding drama. The takedown is swift and efficient, a testament to their growing mastery of the hunt. As they feed, the pride's social bonds are reinforced, each lion's place in the hierarchy reaffirmed through ritualized gestures and shared nourishment. The kill site becomes a classroom, where younger siblings observe and learn the intricate etiquette of feeding and sharing. But the scent of fresh blood does not go unnoticed. Across the open plain, the dominant pride males approach, their imposing forms silhouetted against the horizon. Their arrival is both a challenge and a rite, a moment that will test the resolve and discipline of the younger lions. The young lions pause, their eyes fixed on the approaching patriarchs. There is a flicker of hope for recognition, a silent yearning for acceptance into the inner circle of the pride's leadership. Yet beneath this hope lies an undercurrent of uncertainty, as the rules of succession are as old as the savannah itself. The encounter erupts into a sudden clash, roars shatter the morning calm, dust swirling as bodies collide in a blur of power and fury. The confrontation is not merely physical, it is a test of lineage, a reaffirmation of the pride's ancient order. The dominant males assert their authority with unwavering force, their presence a living reminder that the right to lead must be earned through strength, wisdom, and resilience. The young lions, though formidable, are reminded of the hierarchy that governs every aspect of their existence. These displays of dominance are not acts of cruelty, but vital mechanisms that preserve the integrity of the pride. Through ritualized aggression and submission, the social fabric is maintained, ensuring that only the most capable individuals guide the group through times of scarcity and abundance. Within this structure, diversity flourishes. The pride is a tapestry of ages and personalities, each lion contributing unique strengths to the collective. Cubs play under the watchful gaze of mothers, while elders rest in the shade, their experience a silent guide for the next generation. As the young males mature, an ancient instinct stirs within them. The time comes to leave the pride, a journey compelled by both necessity and the unyielding drive to carve out their own destinies. The expulsion is abrupt, yet it is a crucial step in the cycle of renewal. Dispersal is nature's safeguard against stagnation. By venturing into the unknown, these young males carry the genetic legacy of their ancestors across vast distances, weaving new threads into the fabric of the ecosystem. Alone, survival is uncertain, but together expelled males form coalitions, alliances forged in adversity and necessity. These coalitions become formidable forces, capable of challenging established prides and founding new dynasties. The fathers, by driving their sons away, fulfill a role written in the DNA of the species. Only those who adapt, who learn to navigate the perils of independence, will one day return as leaders, their strength tempered by hardship. The pride's legacy is thus secured not by comfort, but by the relentless demands of survival. Each generation is shaped by the trials it endures, the lessons it learns, and the bonds it forges in the crucible of the wild. The expulsion is a gauntlet, an ordeal that strips away the familiar and thrusts the young lions into a world where every decision carries weight. It is here, in the uncertainty of exile, that true leaders are born. The ensuing battles are fierce and unrelenting. Each confrontation hones their instincts, teaching them the value of strategy, patience, and the importance of alliances in a landscape where danger is ever present. Despite their youthful vigor, the young males are no match for the seasoned strength of the pride's patriarchs. Defeat is a harsh teacher, but it is through these lessons that resilience is forged. Reluctantly, the young lions turn away from the only home they have ever known. The savannah stretches before them, vast and indifferent, a canvas upon which they must paint their own stories. From a distance, lionesses and cubs watch in silence. Their eyes reflect both sorrow and hope, for they understand that the future of the pride depends on the courage of those who leave as much as those who remain. For the expelled, the journey ahead is fraught with peril. Each day brings new challenges, finding water, avoiding rival predators, and learning to hunt without the safety of numbers. The landscape is unforgiving. Rivers must be crossed, territories navigated, and dangers assessed with every step. The skills learned in the pride are now tested in the crucible of solitude. Yet, even in exile, bonds are formed. Coalitions of brothers and cousins traverse the plains together, their unity a shield against the uncertainties of the wild. Through cooperation, they increase their chances of survival and eventual dominance. Each sunrise marks a new beginning. The young lions move forward, their silhouettes etched against the golden horizon, embodying the spirit of renewal that defines the savanna. In Selinda, the presence of these wandering lions is a sign of ecological health. Their dispersal ensures genetic diversity, strengthens the resilience of the population, and maintains the intricate balance of predator and prey. The departure of the young males is not a loss, but a vital contribution to the future of the species. Each step they take is a thread in the tapestry of life, connecting past, present, and future across the vastness of Africa. As they explore new territories, their calls resonate across the plains, a living proclamation of survival and hope. These vocalizations serve as both challenge and invitation, shaping the social landscape for generations to come. The act of sending the next generation into the wild is the ultimate testament to the pride's vitality. It is a process that ensures the continual adaptation and evolution of the species, allowing lions to thrive in an ever-changing world. As the sun rises over Selinda, the lions stand poised on the threshold of a new era. Their future is not guaranteed, but it is theirs to shape. Each challenge faced, each lesson learned, forging a legacy that will echo across the savanna for generations to come. The departure of the young males signaled not just the end of an era, but the flourishing of a new one, a profound affirmation of nature's ability to restore itself when given the chance. This moment, both poignant and powerful, encapsulates the resilience woven into the very fabric of the Selinda pride's existence. From the union of two steadfast lionesses and the arrival of two determined nomadic males, a lineage was forged against the odds. Their perseverance in the face of adversity laid the foundation for a dynasty that would come to redefine the landscape, their presence shaping the very pulse of Selinda. As the pride's first generation matured, the dispersal of young males became a vital mechanism for genetic diversity. Each departing lion carried with him the promise of renewal, ensuring the vigor and adaptability of lion populations far beyond the boundaries of their birthplace. Where silence once reigned, the grasslands now resonate with the vibrant calls and movements of a thriving, multi-generational pride. In a matter of years, the pride's numbers soared from a fragile pair to over 60 lions, their collective presence a living testament to the power of natural recovery. The lion's roar, once a fading memory, now reverberates across the plains, a clarion call that signals the return of a keystone species and the restoration of ecological equilibrium. This resurgence is a testament to the inherent resilience of wildlife. When allowed to reclaim ancestral territories, lions and their kin breathe vitality into the ecosystem, catalyzing a cascade of renewal that touches every living thing. The pivotal cessation of trophy hunting in the mid-2000s marked a turning point. With this pressure lifted, the natural order was restored, and the pride flourished in an environment free from the shadow of human predation. Here, conservation was an act of humility, of stepping aside and allowing the wild to heal. The results are irrefutable. A landscape once depleted now teems with life, each species finding its place in the intricate web of existence. As the ecosystem rebounded, the pride's social bonds deepened. Cubs grew in safety, nurtured by the stability of a restored environment, their playful interactions a sign of a future secured. The saga of Labone, Bolelo, and their descendants stands as a beacon for conservationists worldwide. Their journey from the brink of extinction to a flourishing pride exemplifies the extraordinary potential for recovery when nature is allowed to lead. The lion's resurgence triggered a profound ecological shift. As apex predators, their presence recalibrated the balance of the Selinda ecosystem, influencing the behavior and abundance of countless other species. Herbivores, once unchecked, adapted to the renewed presence of predators, altering their grazing and migration patterns. This dynamic interplay allowed vegetation to regenerate, fostering a richer, more diverse tapestry of life. The ripple effects extended outward, touching every corner of the ecosystem. Other predators and scavengers found new opportunities, each species carving out its niche within the revitalized landscape, strengthening the resilience of the entire community. The pride's recovery is more than a triumph for lions, it is a restoration of ecological integrity. The landscape itself, once scarred, now flourishes as a living testament to the power of balance and the wisdom of restraint. As dawn breaks, the harmony of Selinda is revealed in every detail. Herds grazing in synchrony, predators moving with purpose, and the subtle rhythms of life restored to their natural cadence. The lion's return has fostered a robust wilderness where elephants, antelope, and myriad other species coexist in a dynamic, interconnected web, each playing a vital role in the ecosystem's ongoing renewal. On this day, April 1st, 2026, the legacy of that first fragile pride continues to unfold. Each new generation of cubs embodies the promise of a future where wildness endures, and the lessons of the past guide the stewardship of tomorrow. Through the lens of advanced technology, the pride's nocturnal world is unveiled, revealing the intricate social dynamics, subtle communications, and hidden wonders that define their daily lives. The restored savanna, alive with movement and sound, stands as a vivid reminder that recovery is not only possible but achievable when ecosystems are given space to heal. The wild, once diminished, can return with breathtaking vitality and complexity. The lions of Selinda are more than apex predators. They are the guardians of equilibrium, the embodiment of hope, and the living proof that nature's resilience can overcome even the gravest of challenges. Their presence ensures that the ancient chorus of the wild will echo across these plains for generations to come, a legacy of triumph, a promise for the future, and a testament to the enduring power of conservation. As the first rays of sunlight spill across the Selinda plains, the horizon stretches endlessly, hinting at the vast, untamed world that lies beyond the pride's established borders. The pride, once a single cohesive unit, now swells to over 60 lions, each subgroup fanning out with purpose, their movements orchestrated by instinct and necessity. Lionesses, vigilant and resolute, guide their cubs through the tall grasses, steering them toward the shelter of distant acacia groves, where the morning dew still clings to the leaves. Along the periphery, seasoned males stride with deliberate authority, their silent patrols marked by the ritual of scent marking, each gesture a declaration of presence to unseen rivals. At the margins, cubs tumble and play, their exuberance a stark contrast to the uncertainty of the unknown thickets that border their world. With each passing dawn, the pride's reach extends further, paws pressing into soil that has lain undisturbed for seasons, their advance both cautious and inevitable. Across the savanna, faint trails emerge and vanish, shaped by the daily migrations of both predator and prey, a living map redrawn by the rhythm of survival. Young males, recently cast out, navigate the uncertain fringes, their senses sharpened by solitude as they decipher the subtle cues left by rival prides and elusive prey. Their tentative roars carried on the wind signal both challenge and aspiration, marking the dawn of new hierarchies and the forging of future dynasties. At the shifting borders, tension crackles in the air, brief encounters between Selinda lionesses and unfamiliar intruders, each moment charged with the weight of ancestral memory. In these silent confrontations, a glance can convey both kinship and rivalry, echoing the ancient balance that governs the wild. The ecosystem itself responds to the lion's expansion, its intricate web of life, subtly shifting, in response to the pride's growing influence. Buffalo and zebra, ever vigilant, alter their ancient migration routes, their movements dictated by the presence of new predators and the promise of safer pastures. Seeking refuge, herds gather in the dappled shade of woodlands, their numbers a shield against the ever-present threat of predation. Opportunistic jackals and patient vultures linger at the periphery, their keen senses attuned to the subtle cues of a pending feast, ready to claim what the lions leave behind. Solitary leopards, masters of stealth, adjust their routines, slipping through dense undergrowth and emerging only when the shadows are deepest, avoiding the pride's expanding patrols. The pride's presence breathes new life into the landscape, revitalizing grasslands that once lay dormant, their return heralded by the resurgence of native flora and fauna. Thorny shrubs spared from relentless grazing rise tall and dense, creating sanctuaries for countless small creatures and restoring balance to the ecosystem. Within these thickets, a vibrant chorus of insects and birds flourishes, their songs and movements weaving new threads into the tapestry of life. As the pride traverses their ever-expanding domain, their presence regulates prey populations, curbing overgrazing and allowing vegetation to recover and diversify. The result is a mosaic of habitats, open grasslands, dense thickets and shaded woodlands, each supporting a unique array of species, all thriving under the lion's watchful gaze. In this dynamic equilibrium, every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest herbivore, plays a vital role in sustaining the balance of the wild. The pride's expansion is a seamless integration, their lineage woven into the very fabric of Selinda, shaping and being shaped by the land they inhabit. Each paw print pressed into the earth is a silent testament, an enduring mark of resilience, adaptation, and the unbroken continuity of life in the wild. As the sun dips below the horizon, the air vibrates with the resonant calls of the pride, their voices carrying across the plains and into the coming night. These calls ripple through the grass and thorn, a living proclamation that the wild heart of Selinda endures, untamed, unbroken, and forever reaching toward the boundless frontier. As the relentless cycle of seasons unfolds, Selinda succumbs to the profound silence of drought, a hush that settles over the land like a heavy shroud. The lush floodplains, once vibrant with life and color, gradually wither into brittle expanses of gold, their vitality sapped by the unyielding sun. Waterholes, lifelines for countless creatures, recede into cracked muddy hollows, their surfaces shimmering with mirages that promise relief but deliver only disappointment. For the Selinda lions, the abundance of the wet season is replaced by a daily struggle for survival, a test not of brute force, but of endurance, adaptability, and the wisdom passed down through generations. The pride's routines are dictated by the sun's merciless arc, forcing them to seek shelter during the hottest hours and conserve precious energy. Lionesses, their bodies lean and muscles taut, lead their cubs across vast, arid expanses, their senses finely tuned to the faintest scent of water or the subtle promise of shade beneath a distant tree. The pride's social structure softens under the weight of shared hardship. Old rivalries are set aside as lions huddle together beneath the sparse shade of thorn trees, pooling their strength for the challenges ahead. Across the savannah, prey animals become increasingly elusive, their movements cautious and unpredictable as they navigate the dangers of open ground in search of dwindling resources. Antelope and buffalo gather in tense clusters around the last remaining pools, their bodies pressed close, every sense heightened by the ever-present threat of predators and the desperation of thirst. The lions, in response, refine their hunting strategies, moving under the cover of twilight, exploiting the long shadows of dawn and dusk, and learning from each failed attempt to secure a meal. Young lions, once carefree and playful, are now initiated into the harsh realities of drought, their lessons written in the language of patience, observation, and quiet determination. Through it all, the pride's unity remains unbroken. Grooming and close contact reinforce bonds, providing comfort and reassurance in the face of adversity. When a hunt succeeds, the pride gathers swiftly, each member taking its share with silent urgency, knowing that such opportunities are rare and precious in these lean times. The strongest lions shield the most vulnerable, cubs and elders alike, forming a living barrier against hunger and the ever-encroaching shadow of famine. The entire ecosystem teeters on the edge, each species adapting in its own way to the scarcity, yet the intricate web of life holds firm, resilient against the odds. Jackals and hyenas, emboldened by hunger, scavenge with increased daring, while flocks of birds congregate noisily at the last vestiges of water, each animal improvising to survive. Even the flora responds. Acacia trees drive their roots deeper in search of moisture, and drought-resistant grasses lie dormant, awaiting the first hint of rain to spring back to life. In this crucible of scarcity, the Selinda lions are forged anew, their character and cohesion tested by every hardship the parched earth delivers. Each obstacle overcome becomes a thread in the tapestry of their legacy, a living testament to their adaptability, perseverance, and the unbreakable spirit of the wild. With the sky withholding its blessing, the pride presses onward, eyes fixed on the distant horizon, united by the enduring hope that the life-giving rains will one day return. Across the parched expanse of Selinda, life is woven from countless threads of rivalry and alliance, a living network where every heartbeat, every decision reverberates through the ecosystem. In these lean times, the boundaries between adversary and ally blur. Lions, though apex predators, are deeply enmeshed in a web of relationships that dictate not only their own survival, but the fortunes of every creature around them. At dawn, the pride's presence radiates across the plains, their movements setting off a chain reaction among the inhabitants of Selinda. Zebra and wildebeest, ever vigilant, marshal their young into tight formations, their collective awareness forming a living shield against the threat of predation. Yet not every encounter is ruled by fear. Sometimes a silent truce emerges, an unspoken understanding that today the hunt will wait and the savannah will breathe in uneasy harmony. When a lion's approach shatters the calm, the resulting chaos is not random. Cheetahs and hyenas, ever watchful, exploit the confusion, seizing opportunities that arise from the lion's disruptive presence. The outcome of a single hunt ripples outward, influencing the fortunes of scavengers and competitors alike. A successful kill becomes a focal point for a host of opportunists. Jackals and vultures, masters of patience, shadow the pride, deciphering subtle cues. An ear flick, a sudden pause, each movement a potential signal of bounty or danger. When the lions feast, the aftermath is a stage for negotiation and contest. The air thickens with tension as eyes from every direction fix on the remains. Hyenas, emboldened by numbers and cunning, circle the carcass, their vocalizations a blend of challenge and calculation, probing for any sign of weakness in the pride's defense. The lions, fiercely protective, must balance hunger with vigilance. A single lapse, a moment's distraction, can tip the balance, allowing rivals to snatch away hard-won spoils. In these tense standoffs, dominance is measured not just in strength, but in nerve, strategy, and the willingness to risk injury for a meal. Even the smallest mammals, mongoose, rodents, and birds, navigate this landscape with acute awareness, their survival strategies shaped by the presence and movements of larger predators. Warthogs, ever resourceful, graze in the shadow of the pride, leveraging the lion's dominance to deter stealthier hunters, while remaining poised to flee at the slightest hint of danger. Birds, the savanna's sentinels, broadcast alarms that ripple through the ecosystem. Their calls warn not only prey, but sometimes even the lions of threats like stalking leopards, coiled pythons, or the thunderous arrival of elephants. As drought tightens its grip, the competition for water intensifies. Yet within this struggle, a delicate choreography emerges, each species adapting its behavior to the shifting dynamics at the water's edge. Elephants, the architects of the savanna, excavate deep into the earth, unearthing water that sustains not only themselves, but a multitude of thirsty animals drawn to these life-giving wells. The lions, ever patient, yield to the elephant's might, understanding that in this hierarchy even the most formidable must sometimes defer to greater power. At the waterhole, predator and prey gather in uneasy proximity. Each animal's presence influences the behavior of the others, creating a dynamic equilibrium that shifts with every arrival and departure. This intricate web of interactions, competition, cooperation, and cautious coexistence forms the backbone of Selinda's resilience, allowing life to persist through adversity and abundance alike. As the dry season lingers, the lions endure not only as hunters, but as pivotal actors in a drama older than memory, bound to every heartbeat, every struggle, and every fleeting alliance that shapes the fate of the savanna. In the shimmering dawn, the lion cubs emerge from the shelter of the thicket, their small forms barely disturbing the sea of golden grass that stretches across the savanna. Their playful scuffles are not mere entertainment, but the earliest rehearsals of survival, each movement a careful calibration of muscle, balance, and instinct. As they tumble and pounce, their bodies learn the subtle mechanics of pursuit and capture, muscles strengthening with every leap, reflexes honed by the unpredictability of their siblings' feints. The lionesses, vigilant and patient, form a living barrier around the cubs, their presence both a shield and a silent lesson in vigilance. Through mock combat, the cubs test the limits of their strength and agility, learning to gauge the intent of a rival by the tension in a shoulder or the flick of a tail. Communication begins with the smallest gestures. A tail held high signals excitement, a flattened ear warns of irritation, and these cues become the foundation of the pride's intricate social code. Drawn by curiosity, the cubs edge towards the unknown, their senses alive to every scent and sound that drifts on the morning breeze. They stalk insects with the same intensity they will one day devote to antelope, each chase a lesson in patience, stealth, and the art of timing. Encounters with unfamiliar creatures, whether a darting mongoose or a wary warthog, teach the cubs to weigh risk against curiosity, to recognize the difference between opportunity and danger. Mistakes are frequent and often humbling. A misjudged leap or a failed ambush is met with a tumble in the dust, but each error is a vital step in the slow accumulation of wisdom. As the sun dips below the horizon, the cubs gather in the amber light, mirroring the adults' stalking postures, their bodies instinctively aligning with the rhythm of the hunt. Wide-eyed, they watch the elders coordinate, absorbing the silent signals and subtle cues that transform a group of individuals into a seamless hunting unit. The pride's strength is woven from many threads: youthful energy, maternal guidance, and the accumulated experience of generations, all converging in a single, cohesive force. Cooperative play fosters bonds that will one day be tested in the crucible of the hunt, teaching the cubs to anticipate each other's moves and to trust in the unity of the group. Beneath the boundless Selinda sky, every leap, every chase, and every lesson learned is a step toward adulthood, shaping the apprentices who will one day lead the pride into a future written by their own paws. Across the vast Selinda wilderness, the passage of time is marked not by clocks, but by the subtle and dramatic shifts in the land itself. As the year unfolds, the savanna undergoes a profound metamorphosis, each season sculpting the terrain and its inhabitants in unique ways. The first rains arrive with a hush, soaking the parched earth and coaxing dormant seeds to life. Within days, the plains are transformed into a vibrant tapestry of emerald, the air thick with the scent of new growth and the hum of awakening insects. Rivers, once mere ribbons of dust, swell and carve new channels through the landscape, their banks teeming with life. Herds of antelope and buffalo migrate in, drawn by the promise of fresh grazing, their movements orchestrated by ancient instincts. In this season of plenty, Lion cubs feast on the bounty, their bodies growing sturdy and agile. The abundance of prey allows them to hone their skills through play and practice, each pounce and tumble a lesson in survival. Adult lions traverse the lush terrain with renewed energy, their movements fluid and purposeful. The pride's territory expands as boundaries blur beneath the cloak of vegetation, and every step is a silent claim to the revitalized land. Sunlight glances off their sleek golden coats, each strand of fur a testament to health and vitality. Grooming sessions become more frequent, not only maintaining hygiene but reinforcing the intricate social web that binds the pride. The pride gathers in close-knit groups, sharing warmth and trust. Every gentle nuzzle and lick is a reaffirmation of loyalty, a silent pact to face the challenges of the wild together. Young lions chase each other through the grass, their games echoing the strategies they will one day use in earnest. Bonds are forged in these moments, shaping the pride's future cohesion and strength. Yet the season of abundance is but a fleeting chapter in the savanna's story. As the rains recede, the transformation is swift and unforgiving. The once verdant plains fade to ochre, the soil cracking beneath the relentless sun. Waterholes shrink, their muddy edges crowded with desperate wildlife. Grass withers, exposing the bare bones of the earth, and the air grows heavy with dust. Predators and prey converge at the last remaining pools, their uneasy truce dictated by necessity. Every approach to water is fraught with tension, each movement calculated and wary. Within the pride, competition intensifies. Subtle glances and postures reveal shifting hierarchies as each member vies for access to dwindling resources. The matriarchs, ever vigilant, guide the pride with silent authority. Their decisions, where to rest, when to move, are informed by years of experience and an intimate knowledge of the land's rhythms. Cubs remain close to the adults, their survival dependent on the protection and wisdom of their elders. Every lesson learned in hardship becomes a tool for the future. The pride's movements become measured and deliberate. Each hunt is a calculated risk, requiring patience, coordination, and an acute awareness of the environment. Hours are spent in silent observation, muscles coiled beneath tawny hides, as the lions wait for the perfect moment to strike. Success is never guaranteed, and every failed attempt is a costly expenditure of energy. Through these cycles of feast and famine, the pride's adaptability is tested and refined. During the harshest months, lions seek out the scant shade offered by thorn trees and termite mounds. Their bodies sprawl across the cool earth, conserving every precious calorie. The pride's social structure becomes a lifeline, with individuals huddling together for comfort and protection against the elements. As the sun sets and temperatures drop, the lions become creatures of the night. They travel under the cover of darkness, their senses heightened, navigating by starlight and scent. Hunts are executed with silent precision, each member playing a distinct role. Communication is wordless, an ear flick, a tail twitch, a shared glance. The youngest lions watch intently, absorbing the nuances of teamwork and strategy. Their education is relentless, shaped by necessity and observation. Scarcity teaches lessons that abundance cannot. Cubs witness the careful rationing of food, the discipline required to endure hunger, and the importance of patience. Waiting becomes a skill in itself, waiting for rain, for prey, for the moment when fortune shifts once more. When the first thunderheads gather on the horizon, anticipation electrifies the air. The arrival of rain is both a relief and a celebration. Droplets drum against the earth, washing away dust and fatigue, and signaling the start of a new cycle. Grass springs up in the wake of the storms, painting the landscape in fresh hues. The pride moves through this reborn world, their spirits lifted by the promise of renewal. The savanna's rhythm is a perpetual dance between scarcity and abundance, each phase demanding its own set of skills and adaptations. Lions are both products and architects of this environment. Their presence shapes the behavior of prey, influences the distribution of other predators, and even alters the landscape itself. Every muscle, every heartbeat, is a record of adaptation, an evolutionary response to the challenges and opportunities presented by the shifting seasons. Generation after generation, the pride endures, each cohort shaped by the lessons of the land. In the endless cycle of change, resilience is both their heritage and their legacy. Across the vast tapestry of Selinda, the legacy of the lion pride is woven not in stone, but in the living rhythm of the land, each sunrise illuminating the enduring bond between predator and wilderness. Every generation imprints its presence in subtle, lasting ways. A favoured hunting ground, carefully chosen for its vantage and cover, becomes a silent inheritance, passed down through the generations. Hidden trails to water, carved by countless paws, serve as lifelines during the dry season, their existence known only to those born of the pride. At dawn, the pride gathers beneath the gentle light, reaffirming their unity through shared rituals, each day a renewal of their ancient pact of guardianship. The elders, seasoned by years of survival, rest beneath the acacia's shade, their wisdom a living archive of the pride's history. Each scar etched across their fur is a testament to battles fought and lessons learned, an unspoken record of resilience and adaptation. Through gentle nudges and low rumbles, elders impart knowledge, teaching the young that survival is a skill honed by vigilance, patience, and instinct. The youngest cubs, full of energy, tumble and wrestle in the grass, their play a rehearsal for the challenges that await them as adults. These playful bouts mimic the strategies of the hunt, embedding ancient instincts that will one day determine their survival. As they mature, some lions emerge as leaders, keen-eyed and decisive, while others become vigilant sentinels, ever watchful for threats to the pride. The pride's cohesion is maintained through intricate social bonds, reinforced by grooming, nuzzling, and the subtle language of body and scent. A mother's vigilance is unwavering, her body a shield, her presence a constant reassurance to her vulnerable cubs. Males stand sentinel at the edge of the group, their watchful gaze scanning the horizon, ready to defend against intruders or rival coalitions. Each member, from the dominant male to the smallest cub, is a vital thread in the pride's intricate social fabric, their roles defined by instinct and necessity. Yet the horizon is ever-changing, and the pride must navigate a world in flux. Rivers alter their course, reshaping the landscape and forcing the pride to adapt their territories and routines. Migrating herds shift their patterns, compelling the lions to refine their hunting strategies and expand their range. New predators, such as hyenas and wild dogs, test the boundaries of the pride's domain, challenging their dominance and resourcefulness. The pride's ability to adapt is its greatest strength, shifting territories, altering hunting tactics, and learning from each encounter with adversity. Prolonged droughts test their endurance, as water and prey become scarce, demanding cooperation and ingenuity for survival. The delicate balance between predator and prey is a constant negotiation, with each hunt shaping the fate of both hunter and hunted. Still, as the sun rises over Selinda, the pride's journey stands as a testament to resilience, adaptation, and the enduring spirit of the wild. With each step into the unknown, the pride forges a path for future generations, their unity a beacon in the shifting wilderness. Every paw print pressed into the earth is a living signature, evidence of survival, adaptation, and the promise of continuity. The pride's legacy is inscribed in the vigilant gaze of a lioness, the playful curiosity of her cubs, and the silent cooperation that binds them. As cubs grow under the watchful eyes of their elders, they inherit not only territory, but the collective wisdom and instincts of their lineage. Through storms and hardship, the pride's unity is tested and strengthened, each challenge forging a deeper bond among its members. Protection and comfort are exchanged in moments of vulnerability, reinforcing the social structure that ensures the pride's survival. The legacy of the pride is not merely survival, but the ongoing, intricate dance of life, ever-evolving, resilient, and forever wild, echoing across the endless plains of Selinda. As the seasons grow more unpredictable, the pride faces a world reshaped by the slow, relentless hand of climate change. Rainfall arrives later each year, the once familiar rhythms of wet and dry now blurred, creating uncertainty with every sunrise. Parched earth cracks underpour, and ancestral waterholes shrink into muddy memories, forcing the pride to extend their search for life-sustaining pools. The matriarchs, drawing on generations of inherited knowledge, lead the pride along ancient routes, some now barren, others transformed by new growth or encroaching drought. Shifts in vegetation ripple across the savanna, altering the movement of prey herds and demanding new strategies from seasoned hunters. Wildebeest and zebra, once predictable, now travel unfamiliar paths, their migrations dictated by the availability of grass and water rather than tradition. Each hunt becomes a test of innovation. The pride learns to read the landscape anew, stalking along the edges of receding rivers and ambushing prey at the few remaining watering points. The lion's keen senses, honed over millennia, adapt to the subtler cues of a changing environment, following the scent of distant rain, the distant thunder of hooves on hardpan, the shift in wind that signals a break in the drought. Cubs, born into this era of flux, grow up mastering the art of adaptation. Their play evolves, mimicking the unpredictable movements of elusive prey. Each pounce and tumble a rehearsal for a future where nothing is guaranteed. Mothers teach their young to conserve energy during the hottest hours, seeking shade beneath resilient thorn trees that survive where others wither. With water scarce, the pride forages for moisture-rich plants and learns to drink from dew collected on leaves at dawn. Cooperation becomes more critical than ever. Lions share information through subtle gestures and vocalizations, alerting each other to new sources of sustenance or emerging threats. The pride's unity is tested as competition for resources intensifies, but their social bonds provide a buffer against hardship. Rival predators, also driven by scarcity, edge closer to the pride's territory, sparking tense encounters at the margins of shrinking waterholes. The lions respond with heightened vigilance, their patrols extending farther, their boundaries redrawn by necessity rather than tradition. In this evolving landscape, the pride's resilience is measured not just in strength, but in flexibility, the ability to abandon old routines, to seize fleeting opportunities, and to learn from each setback. Their survival depends on an unbroken chain of adaptation, each generation passing down new lessons etched into muscle memory and instinct. As the sun sets over a land both familiar and transformed, the pride's silhouettes are etched against the horizon, living testaments to the power of adaptation. In the face of climate's relentless march, they endure, not by resisting change, but by embracing it, each poor step a promise that life, in all its wild complexity, will find a way. Across the savanna, the pride's existence is inextricably linked to a tapestry of other species, each encounter shaping the daily rhythm of life. At dawn, as the lions emerge from their resting thickets, a family of warthogs scurries past, ever alert to the flick of a tawny tail. The lions watch, calculating, but choose patience over pursuit, conserving energy for larger quarry. Midday brings the low, deliberate march of a bull elephant toward a shrinking waterhole. The pride yields, recognizing the unspoken hierarchy. Even the boldest lionesses defer to the elephant's immense presence. In the shade nearby, a troop of vervet monkeys chatter and leap, sending warning calls that ripple across the grasses. The lions, momentarily exposed, adjust their approach, learning to move with even greater stealth. Cautious giraffes, towering sentinels, survey the landscape from above, their vigilance an early warning system for the entire savanna. The pride uses the giraffe's body language as a silent cue, alert to any sudden stillness or flight that might reveal hidden danger or the approach of prey. As dusk settles, The air vibrates with the calls of hyenas. These cunning scavengers trail the pride, hoping to capitalize on the aftermath of a hunt. The lions respond with a mix of tolerance and aggression, guarding their kills, yet occasionally conceding scraps in an unspoken truce that balances conflict with coexistence. At night, the pride's roars travel far, intersecting with the barks of jackals and the haunting whoops of distant hyena clans. Each sound is a message, a declaration of territory, a warning, or a search for kin in the darkness. The pride listens and replies, their voices weaving into the nocturnal chorus. During the dry season, buffalo herds become formidable adversaries. The lions approach with calculated teamwork, singling out the weak or isolated, but always wary of the herd's defensive wall of horns and muscle. Success here requires not just strength, but an intimate understanding of buffalo behavior, anticipating feints, reading the flick of an ear, the stamp of a hoof. On rare occasions, the pride encounters solitary leopards, their paths crossing at dusk along hidden trails. Each respects the prowess of the other, interactions marked by silent stares and mutual avoidance rather than open conflict. Even the smallest creatures play a role. Oxpeckers flit among the pride, plucking parasites from their coats, a fleeting alliance where both parties benefit. Insects, too, become part of the lion's world, their swarms rising after rain, attracting birds that the cubs watch with wide-eyed curiosity. Through these countless interactions, some tense, some harmonious, the pride learns and adapts. Their survival depends not just on their own strength and unity, but on their ability to read, respond to, and coexist with the myriad other lives that share the ever-changing savanna. Theirs is a story not of isolation but of connection, each day, a lesson in the delicate art of living among peers. Across the vast savanna, the pride's hunting strategies are finely tuned to the rhythms of the changing seasons. In the lush abundance of the wet months, prey animals disperse widely, their tracks obscured by tall grasses swollen with rain. The lions adapt by favoring ambush tactics, leveraging the dense cover to close the distance unseen. Stalking through dew-laden reeds, lionesses coordinate silently, fanning out in a crescent formation to encircle unsuspecting antelope. Each movement is measured, each pause a calculation. A misstep could send a ripple of alarm through the herd. As the rains fade and the dry season tightens its grip, the landscape transforms. Waterholes shrink to muddy pools, drawing thirsty herds into predictable congregations. The lions shift their approach, exploiting these natural bottlenecks. They wait patiently in the shade, their bodies pressed low against the parched earth, eyes fixed on the slow procession of zebras and wildebeest. Timing becomes critical. Attacks are launched in the cool hours of dawn or dusk, when fatigue weighs heaviest on the prey. During the harshest weeks, when prey animals grow lean and cautious, the pride's teamwork intensifies. Older lionesses draw upon years of experience, signaling subtle cues to younger hunters. They orchestrate drives where some members flush prey toward others lying in wait. In these moments, communication is nearly invisible. A flick of a tail, a twitch of an ear, the briefest eye contact. At times, the pride targets formidable adversaries such as buffalo. Here, strategy is everything. The lions isolate the weakest individuals, relying on relentless persistence rather than speed. They test the herd's defenses repeatedly, retreating and regrouping until an opportunity breaks the buffalo's protective formation. Success demands not only strength, but the ability to anticipate the herd's countermoves, reading their shifting lines for the momentary lapse. When prey is scarce, the pride turns to smaller, more elusive animals. Swift-footed warthogs and agile hares become targets of necessity. The lions display remarkable patience, lying motionless for hours, waiting for the perfect chance to strike. Every successful hunt is a testament to their adaptability, a constant recalibration of tactics shaped by the shifting seasons. Through drought and plenty, the pride's survival hinges on these ever-evolving strategies. Their unity, patience, and instinct for innovation are the true tools of the hunt, ensuring that, whatever the season, the legacy of the pride endures beneath the endless African sky. In the heart of the savannah, survival depends on more than strength and speed. For the pride, communication is a silent symphony, complex, efficient, and often invisible to the untrained eye. Each gesture, posture, and sound is a building block in a language evolved over millennia. Low, rumbling growls serve as early warnings, rippling quietly through the group to alert others of distant threats or the approach of rival predators. These vocalizations, barely audible above the rustle of grass, travel long distances, carrying messages through the dusk and into the night. But it is body language that forms the foundation of the pride's daily interactions. When a lioness lowers her head and slowly sweeps her tail, she signals the start of a coordinated stalk. In response, nearby lions adjust their positions, each attuned to the subtlest shifts in movement. During hunts, eye contact becomes a critical tool. A lingering glance can direct attention toward unseen prey, while a brief flicker between individuals conveys readiness or hesitation. The pride's matriarchs, seasoned by years of experience, often lead with understated authority. A single step forward or backward can halt or advance the entire group. Scent marking is another vital form of communication. By rubbing faces or flanks against specific trees and bushes, the lions leave behind invisible trails, olfactory boundary lines that warn outsiders and reassure pride members of their shared territory. The unique blend of pheromones within each mark tells a detailed story: who passed, when, and even their emotional state. Social bonds are reinforced through gentle grooming. Tongues rasp across fur, not just to clean, but to strengthen alliances and soothe tensions. This tactile language extends to playful nips or nudges during periods of rest, a reminder of unity even in moments of quiet. Vocal cues shift with context. Deep, resonant roars serve as declarations of presence, echoing across miles to assert dominance or summon straggling members. Conversely, soft chuffs and grunts are reserved for close contact, reassuring cubs, coordinating movements, or expressing contentment. Even the youngest cubs learn these signals early, mimicking the postures and sounds of their elders. Through imitation and gentle correction, the next generation acquires the silent vocabulary essential for cohesion. Unseen by most, this intricate tapestry of signals shapes every moment of the pride's existence. In a world where misunderstanding can mean the difference between life and death, the lion's language, silent, subtle, and sophisticated, binds them together, ensuring that every member moves as one beneath the open, watchful sky. Hidden beneath the golden grasses, the pride's influence extends far beyond the boundaries of its territory. As apex predators, lions sit atop the savanna's food web, silently shaping the delicate balance of life below. Their presence regulates herbivore populations, preventing overgrazing and allowing the landscape's diversity to flourish. When the pride hunts, they instinctively target the weakest, oldest, or sickest individuals, naturally culling those least fit to survive. This selective pressure strengthens prey herds, fostering resilience and health across generations. The aftermath of a lion's feast is never wasteful. Scavengers, hyenas, jackals, and vultures descend upon the remains, relying on the pride's leftovers for sustenance. Each meal sets off a cascade of activity, nourishing dozens of species and recycling vital nutrients into the soil. In turn, this enrichment spurs new plant growth, supporting the savanna's vast mosaic of life. By staking claim to prime hunting grounds, the pride also shapes the movement of herbivores. Grazers learn to avoid certain areas, giving overused patches time to recover and regenerate. This dynamic dance prevents the land from becoming barren, ensuring that grasses, shrubs, and trees can thrive in harmony. The pride's presence deters smaller predators from overrunning the grasslands. Cheetahs and wild dogs must adapt, altering their hunting patterns and territories in response to the lion's dominance. This competition fosters a rich tapestry of survival strategies, allowing multiple carnivore species to coexist. Even the pride's dens leave a mark. Over time, abandoned lairs become havens for porcupines, warthogs, and a host of smaller creatures, transforming once-trodden earth into bustling micro-habitats. These safe havens ripple outward, supporting a web of life that extends well beyond the pride's immediate needs. In the stillness between hunts, the pride's mere presence exerts a silent force, guiding the rhythm of the ecosystem. Every paw print, every roar, every patrol along the territory's edge is a thread in the vast tapestry of the savanna. Without the pride, the balance would falter, grasslands would wither, prey herds would weaken, and the intricate chain of life would unravel. Through their daily existence, the pride acts as guardian, steward, and sculptor of the grassland. Their unseen labor sustains a world teeming with life, revealing the profound interconnectedness that defines the savanna's enduring beauty.